The priest's voice trembled in the quiet chapel, a soft echo against the stained glass saints. "Do you accept?" he asked, eyes darting between us. My throat tightened, but I forced the words out, sharp and jagged. "First, I must show the guests something." Clara froze beside me, her white veil quivering like a caught breath. The congregation stirred, a murmur rippling through the pews. Her hand, moments ago warm in mine, turned cold as marble. I'd seen the message on her phone last night. Just a glance while she slept, her screen glowing in the dark hotel room. "Meet me after. Usual place. Don't tell him." My heart had stopped, then thundered, each beat a hammer against my ribs. I told myself it was nothing, a friend, a cousin, a misunderstanding. Clara loved me. She'd chosen me. But the words clawed at my mind, relentless, as I stood at the altar, her perfume, jasmine and lies, filling my lungs. The chapel smelled of wax and roses, the air thick with expectation. Clara's eyes, wide and hazel, locked on mine, pleading. "James, what are you doing?" she whispered, her voice barely audible over the organ's fading hum. I didn't answer. My fingers shook as I reached into my suit pocket, pulling out the small, folded paper I'd scribbled on an hour ago. The guests leaned forward, their faces a blur of curiosity and unease. My best man, Tom, shifted behind me, his cough cutting the silence. "James," Clara said again, louder, her tone fraying. "Please." Her veil caught the light, casting delicate shadows across her face, but I couldn't look at her. "Not yet." I unfolded the paper, my hands steadying as I began to read. "Clara," I said, my voice carrying to the back of the chapel. "You've been my anchor, my light. I wrote these vows to promise you forever." The words tasted like ash. I'd spent weeks crafting them, pouring my soul into each syllable. But now, they were a mask for the truth I needed to uncover. "But before I say them, I need to really know who you are." The crowd hushed. Clara's mother, in the front row, clutched her purse, her knuckles white. I turned to Clara, her face pale beneath the veil, her lips parting as if to speak. "James, don't," she said, her voice cracking. "Not here." "Why not?" I asked, my tone softer than I felt. My chest burned, a mix of anger and desperation. If we're to be one, there should be no secrets. Right. The question hung like a blade. She didn't answer, her gaze dropping to the floor, where rose petals lay scattered like bloodstains. I thought back to the signs I'd ignored, the late-night texts she'd dismiss as work, the way she'd linger at the mirror, adjusting her smile as if it were a costume, the weekend trips to visit her sick aunt, who always seemed fine when I called. I'd told myself it was trust, not blindness, that kept me from questioning her. But last night's message had shattered that illusion, each word a splinter in my heart. "Clara," I said, stepping closer, the paper crumpling in my fist. "Who's waiting for you after this?" The question was a gamble, raw and reckless. Her eyes widened, a flash of fear crossing them before she masked it with a shaky laugh. "What are you talking about?" she said, loud enough for the guests to hear. "James, you're being ridiculous." But her hands twisted the lace of her dress, betraying her. I could feel the crowd's eyes, heavy as stone, waiting for the truth to spill. "Then let's clear it up," I said, my voice steady now, fueled by the ache in my chest. I turned to the guests, my heart pounding. Last night, I saw a message on Clara's phone. From someone asking her to meet them after the wedding. "Don't tell him," it said. "I want to know who it was." The chapel erupted in whispers, a tide of shock rolling through the pews. Clara's mother stood, her face flushed, but her father pulled her back down. Tom stepped forward, his hand on my shoulder. "Mate, maybe this isn't the place." "It's exactly the place," I snapped, shaking him off. I faced Clara again, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Tell me," I said, softer now, almost begging. "Tell me it's not what I think." She opened her mouth, then closed it, her breath hitching. The silence was deafening, heavier than any vow. Then, from the back of the chapel, a man stood. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a face I vaguely recognized from a company picnic last year. Clara's co-worker. "Michael." "It's me," he said, his voice steady but low, like he was confessing to a crime. The crowd gasped, head swiveling. Clara's face crumpled. a sob escaping her lips. I felt the floor tilt beneath me, the world narrowing to the space between us. Michael, she whispered, and the sound of his name on her lips was a knife. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but my voice caught, trapped in the wreckage of my heart. Why? I managed, the word raw and broken. She looked at me, tears streaming down her face, smudging the makeup she'd spent hours perfecting. I didn't mean for it to happen, she said, her voice trembling. It was a mistake. A moment of weakness. I love you, James. I swear I do. Then why didn't you stop? I asked, my voice rising. Why meet him today of all days? The question hung, unanswered, as Michael stepped into the aisle, his hands raised as if to calm a storm. It's not her fault, he said. I pushed her. Enough. I cut him off, my hands clenched into fists. The chapel felt too small, the air too thick. I turned back to Clara, searching her face for the woman I thought I knew. Was it ever real? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She reached for me, but I stepped back, the paper falling from my hand. It was real, she said, her voice breaking. It is real. I got lost. The priest cleared his throat, his face pale. Perhaps we should. No, I said, my eyes locked on Clara. There's no vow that can fix this. I turned to the guests, their faces a mix of pity and horror. Thank you for coming, I said, my voice hollow. But there's no wedding today. I walked down the aisle, past the roses, past the stunned faces, past the life I thought I'd have. Clara's sobs followed me, but I didn't look back. The chapel doors swung shut behind me, the sunlight harsh and blinding. In my pocket, my phone buzzed, a text from Clara, already pleading. I didn't read it. Instead, I kept walking, each step heavier than the last, carrying the weight of a love that had burned too bright to last.